Sky Blue Fans TV. For the fans, by the fans.
Well, as Bon Jovi once said, keep the faith. Or maybe Marillion, who once sang, is this the playground of broken dreams? Well, who knows? Another away fixture, and yet again we can't get a win. We haven't won away since last Easter. Well, we'll talk about Tuesday's fixture. We'll talk about the upcoming fixture on Saturday, and hopefully we'll be celebrating a win on Saturday. We've got a Luton guest coming on later. We've got three fantastic, we'll call them pundits, shall we, tonight? We'll go all fancy. Has there been any signs of improvements? We'll talk about that. Also, do we go two up front? And if we do, which two? We'll talk about the defence, the midfield. Do we need to change it? It's not been changed for a couple of games. Has it made a difference? We've got some fun things as well. We've got Spot the Ball. So hopefully we'll end tonight with a bit of humour and a bit of cheer. And come on, City, we just need to win, don't we? Well, tonight we've got our one and only Victoria.
Hi, Claudio.
How you doing, Vicky?
Very well, thank you.
Good. The voice of reason. We've got Paul, who he's had to bail himself out because poor old Paul's been flooded once more. 4 feet of water in his kitchen. Yeah. So if you think Country City is sinking, how do you think he feels?
Yes, evening all.
And also a newcomer. He asked to come on the show, and I think it'll be some good insight. We've got somebody young on for a change. Dale. Good evening, Dale.
Hi. Hello, everybody.
Evening, Dale.
Right. Obviously, we'll start off with Tuesday night, and I'll start with you, Vicky, because I've looked at social media this week, and out of everybody, I think you've been the most sensible. You always sort of keep the lid on things and try to be a bit more pragmatic, and you don't fly off like probably me and Paul might do. So, looking at Tuesday's fixture, we'll talk about the first half first of all, and probably the selection. So, overall, any surprises for you?
I thought he might go back to starting with Simmons and Bissett again and bring on, I suppose the same as we did at Preston is what I thought he probably would do. But I guess it's not a massive surprise that he finished with the two striker. We started with the two strikers he finished with, I guess. I was glad that he stuck fundamentally with the same, because I think that's what we need. We've been saying this for weeks. We just need a bit of like stability, like keep on chopping and changing, and different players, different positions. Isn't what's needed really. So I was glad personally that fundamentally it looked like the same setup. I think without Bidwell, 5 at the back's the way to go, which I've said the other week. And so I was happy he stuck with that really, personally.
So Dale, what did you make of it?
Better. I thought it was better, but as we are at the minute, for every moment that's better, there's 2 or 3 that's poor. Usually immediately afterwards, they do the hard work, and then the sort of layman's basic stuff they tend to drop off.
I mean, you look at that first half though. We kicked off, and I thought, this looks quite promising. We had a little break, didn't we? Then they had a corner, then we broke and scored. And I don't know what you thought, Dale, but you kind of thought, well, come on, then we're gonna hammer these, aren't we? Surely, is that the impression you had?
Yeah, but you watch Coventry for long enough, you get the 1-0 feeling, and you see the 3 minutes at the top, and you're thinking that's too early. I don't think we've got it in us to hold out. And I kind of knew that they wouldn't. The intensity would go as soon as that goal went in, because I've seen it like we all have 1,000 times. But you did expect them. Robbins talks about them apparently not being able to take the criticism and the negative comments, but they don't have the drive to go and prove it. You can't just do it for 3 minutes, get a 1-0 at QPR and sit on it. It just doesn't work like that.
So, Paul, what do you reckon? First of all, sorry to hear about your house, because it's a nightmare, isn't it? It's the second time in a year.
There you go. Well, some idiot decided to convince his wife to buy a water mill. What do you expect?
But you did want an indoor swimming pool, so you can't complain.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's, 4 feet's a bit deep for me. You know what it's like. But
So, what do you think to the lineup? Firstly,
well, I thought the lineup. It, it, I, there was consistency, and I thought, well, perhaps in one part of my brain said go the same as Preston and show some faith. But Preston, we went how many minutes without a shot on goal? So something had to change up top. I thought I was quite pleased with the team, as Vicky said when we went there. I think Asante, I like to see him on the pitch. I think he gives us pace, etc. Trouble
100%.
is, when he presses, they don't press with him, and they just play around him. And I think he shows such intensity. I wish some of the others had take a leaf out of his book, because I think he harries and he hurries everybody. As to be honest, his Tats does as well. But I think we're not. Whatever we do, we don't seem to do it together. And
It's not a unit.
no, and QPR sort of sussed us out after a bit. Mind you, saying that, we scored early. We did our best not to score, didn't we?
yeah.
How many shots did we want?
I feel that when the lineup is the lineup. I thought it only changed the two forwards. What combination? We'll talk about that later. What we prefer to see. But once we took the lead after 3 or 4 minutes, and you're right, Paul, we took an age to put it in. And when it did go in, it only just went in because the keeper's as bad as ours. But I kind of thought, I was watching the game and I said to my son, I says, if we hadn't have scored, this is rubbish. This isn't very good at all. Yeah,
I actually thought it was that bit of luck. When they said it goes in off somebody's backside and you start a run.
Hold on.
Sorry.
They started... we're playing against a team with no confidence. They've not won a game at home all season, and we back off. And I don't understand that. And this is a tactic we have used many, many times. It's not just this season, not just last season. We even did it in the playoff season where we sort of back off. And that must be a tactic from us. I can't believe we have 3 different squads since then. It's just, we score a goal, we back off. We never, I'm thinking 3 minutes in, we've got to go for it. We've got to get a second goal as quickly as possible. None of this, let's bide our time, whatever, because they've still got players in their team good enough to score goals and break. But they're low on confidence as well. So you've got to take the chance while you can. Go on, Paul.
No, I think we're both very, very passionate, haven't we? But this is what this show's about. It's I thought, as I said to you before, we were going to get a bit of luck. Hadji hit it straight down the middle. For a big guy, for Cyril, and then he just sort of scuffed it at it. And as you said, their keeper's terrible, and the lad on their line put it in. So I thought that's a bit of luck. Now that's it. This could be the start of a run, and we just went passive and backed off.
Yeah, what do you think, Vicky? Do you agree with that?
I do. Although I actually thought, I know we do that a lot, and we've sort of complained about that in previous podcasts about how the players would sit back when we got a chance to go for it. But I didn't actually think that was a deliberate tactic on Tuesday. I thought that was a player confidence issue. I think they'd got something they could hold on to, and they just withdrew into their shells thinking that this is what we need, like if we can hold on to it. And so I don't think that was a deliberate tactic on Tuesday. I think that was players were playing within themselves because of the confidence issues. And that's why after half time, like what was it obviously system, like what you're doing, and just at the beginning of the second half, we came out how we should have carried on after the goal went in, I thought, and started to build a bit of momentum. And then unfortunately suffered the sucker punch of conceding a goal, because at that stage I really thought that we were going to go on and win that quite comfortably in the second half. But yeah, so I agree, but I also don't think it's entirely a tactical decision on Tuesday, personally.
So Dale, what do you think then on the way we play it around the back? Because it's I like a lot of people just find it a bit laborious, a bit slow. It not dynamic enough. What do you think?
It works when it's done properly and quick and it's snappy, but I think just like Vicky was saying, the confidence that isn't there to play that snappy, quick football. And like you say, you can't labour at the back, and they labour at the back, and there's always little bits and bobs where you think they could have scored there. I mean, it happened against QPR, but one thing I wanted to say, what Vicky was saying, I think the way they went into their shells was purely reactional, because I don't think they even had the confidence that they thought they'd score in the first 10 minutes, let alone at 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Before we carry on, I think we're going to do a bit of spot the ball. I'll just get it up. I hope I don't put the answer up. So bear with me. It's down here somewhere. Where are we? Here we go. First of all, I'll put this up because Miles is not around, so I'll show this. 26th of October, the Old Shepherd, Kersley, Coventry, Halloween karaoke night, and DJ Milesy, our very own Miles, is fancy. I don't think he's in fancy dress, so he might be. Or he may not bother because it's Halloween. And that's 7:30 p.m., 12 a.m. King Karaoke Entertainment. You can even book it now. Book now and call, it says. I can't see that. But his phone number's on the bottom there. And trust me, Miles is very, very good at what he does. He's an excellent DJ. Right. Also, we've got a bit of this as well, if anyone's interested. And England v South Africa. The Lionesses return to Coventry. What's the date, Vicky? Do you know? Is that next week as well?
Tuesday. Yeah, 29th, next Tuesday.
That's next Tuesday. That's
my
interesting.
My partner's gutted. She wanted to go to that, and I'm at work. I can't.
I wanted to go, and I can't go either. I'm gutted.
I could go, but I don't want to.
You're missing out.
I'm with you, Claudio.
Sorry. Anyway, so spot the ball then. Here it comes. Bear with. There we are. Ellis Sims going for a header. Well, that ball could be anywhere.
Yes.
So,
It's 11 then.
I was just about to say that.
I can tell you
He's
now.
getting it on his foot.
It's not number 4, is it? It's not going to be number 4. That's on his head. So,
Yeah.
Hey, Claudio.
anyway, so, Paul, where do you reckon the ball can't possibly be? Now, where do you think the ball is?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10. I'm going to go 10.
All right, Vicky's writing this down. Dale, what do you reckon?
It's Sims, so 13.
Off his knee.
13.
What do you reckon, Vicky?
I'm going to say 9.
You're saying 9. So get your guesses in.
I
And
always
also-
try and work out where they're all looking, and it's never in where they're all looking.
No, it's always weird, isn't it? I'm rubbish at it. It won't be 9. I never get it
Yeah.
right.
Also, like and subscribe if it's the first time you watch this. If not, tell other people to do the same. We like a thumbs up and a subscription. Doesn't cost you anything. It's all free. And also, if you want to park near the ground, we've got home game parking, big parking. Book here, offside parking for the CBS Arena. It's where I park. It's only a good walk. It's a nice little walk, actually, and it's the right side of the road closure, so you can get out. So it's worth doing. All right, before we go any further, I think we get some comments up, shall we?
Yeah.
And see if we respond to these. All right. Don't worry, the comments will come up in a minute. It's sad what's going on here.
The weather.
Well, that's funny. Can you get the... Oh, here we go. The comments will come up in a second. Right. Oh, dear. Bear with. Technology is fantastic, isn't it?
Come back, Miles. All is forgiven.
Right. Nobody touch the comments. I've got them. Right, here we go then. Right, all travel advice. Right, evening everyone. Saturday was my first time in safe standing. I'm not a season ticket holder and usually sit behind the goal. Paul Cuttyford, except for the goal, we had very vanilla performance. This is from GLB Boxing. Hi all, I hope you're well. I've renamed DK to Dairy King due to milking the fans dry. Oh, very clever, very clever.
Yes.
Here we go. First one we can quickly discuss then. From Assassins Unite, I'm sorry, but Dovan has become unselectable. What do you think, Dale? Dove in or out? Do you like that? Do you like what I did there?
Yeah, very good, very good. All three of them. I'm sort of like, well, I'm not bothered. I don't think they're terrible. He's a young lad. You're going to hear the same excuses out of my mouth that you hear from everybody else. I think he'll come good.
Yeah, it's awkward, isn't it? Because I mean,
just got to get used to it. He's made some absolute worldy saves. So QPR, you could say maybe should have got his hand on it, but
yeah. What do you reckon, Paul?
Well, the QPR one, his weight was all going one way, wasn't he? He was going one way, and it kind of, because it came off the guy's shin, and I think if it had been a truer shot, he would have had better chance at getting it, because it came off at a funny angle off the leg.
Going to bounce anywhere.
It was like he was going that way, and he put his hand up. So, but I mean, Preston. I was going to say, go back to Preston. He made a couple of cracking saves at Preston, and also his position was good because they could have been 2 or 3 up actually in the first half. But,
they're all fit.
You know, he's done all right.
Fit. If they're all fit, at the three of you, which keeper?
Wilson for me.
Dobbin.
Vicky?
Oh, see, I'm torn because I feel like Dobbin's the future, and so really he needs game time. But equally, while we're in a bad run of form, Wilson gives you more experience. So I'm sort of torn between the two.
Dobbin with Wilson's personality.
Yeah, well, yeah. But he's come out and said, hasn't he, that he knows that he needs to develop that part of his game. So it's not like he can't recognise his own, which is good. At least he can recognise his own shortcomings and work towards that. And I don't think you can drop keepers just because they make a mistake, because otherwise you'd never play a keeper. I mean, what about Leeds and Melia the other week when you let Sunderland equalise? If you drop keepers for making silly mistakes, you'd run out of goalkeepers, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's going to happen.
He would at our place, that's for sure. So all travel advice, got to keep the 3-5-2 formation and the same team. The only position up for grabs for me is who partners has you right up front. Marshall Ludit, Paul, you do live near in Mere country. It's too flat up your side of the Shire. I'm on the edge of the edge.
Yeah.
Nation Radio, as Tony says, evening all. Good to see you at Preston, Jimmy Somerville.
Yes, we've still some good friends at Preston. We had a good time. Apart then the game started.
Yeah, well, James Hollywood, 1 point and 1 goal against the worst team in the division is not good enough. We are going to struggle if we keep the faith with Mark. All travel advice: if you take Hadji's goals away this season, we'd have 4 less points. We would only have 5 points. He's the only one who's scoring at the minute. Finn, look at our next few games. Oh dear, I can't see where we get a point from. Never mind a win. I think DK has gone woke as we are broke. Graham Cockrell, to me, there was a slight improvement and we looked better, but only the midfield didn't look as if they control the game at all. Marshall says Sims looked to have started in the centre. Am I wrong with that? Play players in their correct positions and stick with them. If we are going to keep losing, might as well stick with a team. Tony, who says 45 million spent should not be in the bottom 3. And I think that's what everybody feels as well. Dave Sports Photos. At some point, someone is going to say fine margins. This is from the makers of the Trust the Process and Time to Gel. Most games come down to fine margins. Good teams win them. It's not random. Nation Radio got back at 1:30 a.m. from QPR. London traffic horrendous. Gavin Collins, I know he was there. Even all better in patches against QPR. Doven can't play against Luton. He's not ready for this level. Thomas looked better in the middle of the 3. MVE looked knackered, but no cover to give him a rest. James Hollyoak, But why aren't the players doing what they're coached to do? Well, maybe they are. Nation Radio Coventry would have won if Sims had squared to Bassett. That is a good point. Glenn Watkin.
And the week before, Bassett to Sims.
Yeah,
I think that's why Sims. I might be wrong, but I've just got a feeling he's looked up and he's gone, "Nah, you didn't sort me out last week." So
yeah, we're not the Chuckle Brothers, are we? To you, to me, to you.
In all fairness, if they could both finish, they wouldn't have to pass it, would they? Wouldn't even be talking about it. Glenn Watkin, we seem to be stuck between going for killer second and third goals, but scared of conceding a goal by attacking too much. Colin Branfield, lots of times we had a chance to shoot outside the box, but didn't. Finn, since AD went, it's all gone to pot. The coaching staff and all this new woke crap needs scrapping. Marshall Liddit, Paul Scholes and Roy Keane admitted they both get riled up by teams who aren't good enough playing out from the back. Coventry currently not good enough. Put Collins and in a lump it forward. Chris Baker, sorry for pulling out tonight. Yes, is that from the show? If anybody's wondering what he means. Liam was. It's a family show, Chris.
Claudio.
Liam was. I'm still moaning about the same errors. The lack of a plan B is killing us. Need to do something drastic. I'm still angry with Sims for not passing that ball. Criminal. And right, we're talking about that then. When you look at, has there been? We'll start with you, Dale. Has there been any improvements from the first match at Stoke, the first 11 games, or do you just feel we've plateaued and not moved on at all?
No, I don't think we've plateaued. I think it's there, but it's really small, gradual increments that you probably can't see with the eye. But there's something there. I mean, there would have been a stage where I would have taken a point from QPR. Yeah. And I'm taking the one that we just got, but I think I'm slowly getting more confident. But I've it changes with the wind. One day I'll be super negative, and then the next day I'm positive. And I said to my partner, I was like, I'm just going to go on there and be positive because the last thing we all need is more negativity around it.
Okay, then. So the first 11 games, which players do you think have played probably better than they thought they would? We'll do it that way then. Which players do you think have stood out in the 11 matches?
I think Eccles has had his best. I think he gets better every season, and he gets a lot of the stick, like you guys have said, a lot of the time. But he does all the stuff that you don't see. He does the dirty work. He needs to improve on his stuff where the spotlight's on him. I think he's been great. His distribution is terrible. But I love his attitude, and I can forgo that because I can see how much he loves the club and he's passionate about it. Hadji is always questionable, but he's scoring. Like you said, he's the only one that's scoring. And Bassett looks really promising, and I think he should just gamble on him more.
Yeah. What about you, Vicky?
I think.
Finished, Dale?
I'm finished. I'll go on forever if you don't shut me up. So
cool. I'd agree with Eccles. I think that probably somebody that's been consistent, no matter how badly or poorly we play this season. He's sort of been the one player that's come out of most games thinking you could give him some credit. So I think, and I also agree that I think he's got better season on season. I think I've also seen this season. I think he is improving his forward distribution. I've seen some decent balls. I think I don't know. I feel sorry for him sometimes because he'll put some really decent balls forward, and then the strikers aren't scoring. And you think if someone was going to go in and got these assists, people would look at him in a different light. So for me, I think each season he's improving. And the one thing you get from him is commitment. Like, he's a Coventry lad and he shows it, and I like that. It's a weird one because also some of the other players, Wright, I find just frustrating. We've spoken about that a lot. I think he's got the potential to be one of the best players in the club, but he just doesn't do it often enough. And if he had an attitude like Eccles, we probably wouldn't be having any of these conversations, because if he was putting in the effort that Eccles is every week, we probably wouldn't be sat in the bottom of the league, would we? So it's the difference, isn't it, about a player doing the best with their ability, and I don't think he is. So that's frustrating. And then oddly, considering that we obviously speak a lot about the defensive issues, like players like Binks and Natabodier, I think have been decent this season. Like over a match, like they've all got mistakes in them, but I think a lot of that's confidence and pressure and the overall team setup. But I think I've been impressed with Binks. I'm glad we signed him, and I think Natabodier is similar to Eccles. He gives everything when he gets his chance on the pitch. But for me, so that would be my players for this season so far.
I find, sorry to just jump in really quickly, I find Latty is frustrating because, like you say, you can see the effort and the passion that he's putting in, but you just find yourself doing this a couple of times a game with him.
Yeah, I find with Latty, he runs like he's got a golf ball between the cheeks of his backside. It's really weird. It's got a weird run, like he's got hemorrhoids or something. I think he needs to be seen to, because
Do you remember that player we used to have in the 90s? I think we had him on loan from Liverpool, and he had like the weirdest run ever. Do you remember? Does anyone remember him?
It rings a bell.
I thought it was name was that, and he had the funniest run ever.
I know we had Kevin McDonald from Liverpool.
Yeah.
He couldn't run at all. But anyway,
Someone would put me out my misery.
I don't know if Paul's going to mention him yet, but no one's mentioned Rodoni yet. So, I mean, for me, I think he disappeared on Tuesday night completely.
He didn't have a good game. I thought he was one of our best players at Preston, and he didn't have a good game last night.
So what about you then, Paul? What do you think?
Well, I just need to pick up a couple of points. 45 million spent. Everybody's going on. That's 45 million spent after we've sold Vic, Gus, and O'Hare. So when you've got 45 million gone out the door, you've got 45 million in. He's spent very little. And we've got rid of very, very good players, and we brought in mediocre. So sorry, but I keep hearing that we're spending money. He's not. What he's done is he's just paid out what he's got in.
Net zero is what you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we and some of that has not. Our recruitment has not been good. The Adi Vivash thing, we were rubbish when Adi Vivash was here. It's Dennis Lawrence is the big thing that went. That was I think a lot of heart and soul.
Well said.
You mentioned Dennis. I had a message today. No, this is. I'm glad you mentioned it, because I had a message today. I mean, this wasn't scripted. He just brought this up, but I did have a message today from somebody to say it's a bit weird that Robbins and Adi were offered new contracts, but Dennis Lawrence wasn't at the same time, which forced Dennis Lawrence to start looking for a job, which is the reason why he went. He was not offered a new contract like the other two were. So if the four of us are in the same job and three of us get offered contracts and one doesn't, you have to think to yourself, oh, I better start looking for another job, haven't I? Because you're not feeling
that speech he gave to the players, I mean, was wonderful. That should be shown on sort of leadership videos or whatever. Talk about feeling, emotion, contact with the team, the dressing room. I think when he left, a big heart went, or a big piece of our heart went, and it just seems to not have been the same, because we were losing when Adi was there as well. So
who has impressed you this season then?
Well, I think Binks has, if he would only get a chance. Tats has when he's fit and on the field. I mean, what's wrong with him? Because I mean, as far as why won't they pick him, he's fit, and when he comes on for a cameo at the end, we always seem to the other team seem to be wary, because we can get down the flanks, because Milan looks lost without him. And I thought Latz has played really well in the last few games. Eccles, I'm sorry, I just don't think Eccles is good enough, because he has one good performance. I mean, Preston, he was going around holding his ankle, moaning and shrugging his shoulders all the time. And I know he's from Cov, and I love the bloke, but there's a certain thing about talent, and he's making the most of it, and he does do a lot of dirty work. But the problem is he's not consistent at this level. I think he has one good performance. When he's good, I thought he was much better against QPR than Preston, but then I'm expecting him not to turn up again at Luton because I don't see him putting two good games together.
Well, we can talk about that in a bit because I think we're going to get.
Sorry if I'm getting but I'm really cheesed off at the moment.
We're going to get a bit ruffled up against Luton. I think we'll talk about that in the second half of the show. So, okay, then look at it this way. Then, so we got the our defence. Would you stay on Saturday, all being well, all being fit? Do we pick the same 5 players across that back? Because I don't think Jake's going to be.
I think you have to. I don't think you've got a choice.
For me, yeah.
Yeah,
he's got to stick with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we look at the.
I thought De Silva had a good game as well. He's
How did he get booked? By the way, what was that?
Oh, no.
There's nobody moving. What's he supposed to do?
Well, that's another
the Coventry way.
The amount of times you see that at the CBS week in, week out, other teams doing it. De Silva takes 1 minute to look around and he gets booked.
I
feel sorry, go on.
I don't understand why we have no movement from throw-ins whatsoever all the time. There's just nothing. And we've even got a chance for long ball thrown up the line to gain a bit of, get up the pitch a bit. We don't, even when the opportunity is there. It's a bit, I don't know, it's so annoying. So midfield-wise then, do we go again with Eccles, Eccles, Sheaf and Rodoni?
Why isn't he starting Torp? Why is Torp?
I don't know.
Is he still carrying something?
I'd try Torp, Sheaf, and Rodoni myself.
I think Eccles probably needs a rest because he's just played constantly since February.
Also, he did go off injured, didn't it? He went off injured, so we don't know how his ankle is from that tackle on Tuesday night either. So, I mean, Torp's been frustrating this season. I really thought he was going to step up, and I was quite excited about because I thought last season he obviously came in, he had a lot of training. He sort of got thrown in at the deep end a bit because Sheaf was injured, and I think he probably had to pay more than was expected. And then he sort of dropped away, and I thought, decent pre-season, he'll be the player next season, and I've been really disappointed.
Vic, what about his goal? He gets that fantastic worldie against Sheffield Wednesday, and then it's almost like the coaches have said, don't you be taking shots from outside the box. Isn't it?
Everyone else can, though, just not you.
Yeah, the ones that can't score.
Can. At Preston, that shot that he hit and it went out for a throw-in. Right, he's a professional footballer.
Yeah, but I've been disappointed. But I did actually think when he came on against QPR was probably his best performance so far this season. So hopefully that's him maybe getting up and running. And so, I mean, a lot of people don't like Eccles and would drop him just because they don't want to play him. I'm like that. I really like Eccles, so I'd pick him if he was fit. But I see no harm in resting him and giving Torp a run out.
But we got done again. Done again, didn't we?
We've got Dave.
We were pressing.
We've got Dave, our Luton fan, in the background. So before we bring him on, I'm just going to play this. This is sent in by Mr. View Sky. It's us playing Luton. Hopefully, it's us beating them because we haven't done that for a while, have we? So, I'll play this. If it plays,
that was good.
Yeah, we look better than against Preston.
Luton Town were too benevolent by far at Coventry. City in front inside 7 minutes. Kevin Gallagher accepting the first of the evening's invitations issued by defender John Dreyer. The visitors' problems compounded soon after when striker Sean Farrell was sent off for this reckless challenge. The first in the First Division to get his cards this season. But Luton were in a self-destructive mood. If an attacker had kicked the ball out of the keeper's hands like that, he'd have been penalised. Gallagher making the most of the misunderstanding for his second goal. A third on the stroke of half-time ended the match as a contest. David Smith's shot, rebounding kindly for Robert Rosario to stretch out one of the longest legs in the game. Coventry hoping for much from him this season. The second half, a bit of an ordeal for Luton. So much time for Coventry to virtually decide on the score of their fourth goal. David Smith got the vote. An ideal time to introduce another new face from the bench. Paul Furlong, another graduate from the healthy non-league scene. Passing out with his first goal since his summer move from Enfield. Maybe a long winter for Luton Town, though.
I was at that game. Marvellous.
Some
before my
worldy shots
time.
in there.
Kevin Gallagher, what a player. What a player.
Yeah, it was interesting. I bumped into my friend who's from Luton, but he used to be a neighbour of mine in Bubnall for years and years and years. And he saw me on the parade in Leamington. And when they hammered us at Kenilworth Road, was it League 1 5-0, was it? Or 5-1, whatever it was. He says, I've been waiting since New Year's Day, 19, whatever it was, to get my own back on you lot. I thought, flipping hell, Tony, you got a good memory. I'm going to bring not Tony, but Dave on the stage.
Well, thanks for letting me see that again.
Well, you're there.
I'm off now. No, I wasn't there at that game, but I probably went to most of the others that season. I'm just, I'm glad I wasn't there, to be fair.
Yeah.
Just totally glad I wasn't there.
So, I mean, the last time you'd have bumped into a City fan would have been probably a bit subdued, I'd imagine, that day at Wembley. Touching briefly on that day, when it got to penalties, how did you think it was going to go?
Well, penalties are a lottery, aren't they, all of the time? So I sat there. Well, I was standing because you don't sit down at them games, do you? Let's be fair. I think the first thing I was thinking, please let it be at our end. Please let it be at our end, because it goes the other way. I think there's an advantage for Coventry. And then, can we go first? That's the other thing I wanted to happen. Can we go first? But actually, when you cheer when a goal goes in and those sort of penalty shootouts, what you're cheering for is relief that it's bloody gone in, isn't it? It's not like, we're going to win this. It's just, oh, great, we haven't missed that one. Now it's up to Coventry to miss or our goalkeeper to save. And so you go through, you went through the opposite emotions to me, clearly. But on the day, I was really confident with our penalties. I don't know why. From the first one, but, the first 5 of each side were brilliant.
Yeah.
The whole game was a brilliant game. The whole atmosphere of the day was a brilliant atmosphere. It's a shame one person had to lose, and I'm glad it wasn't us. But when the final one was missed, it was euphoria, because it's been a dream of mine. I've been watching Luton Town since 1969. I've seen them in the top flight before, but a lot of our fans wouldn't have seen them that high. They've seen us in absolute lows. So overall, it was a brilliant day for us. And did I feel sorry for you guys? Yeah, of course, because it was a great game, and the fans were brilliant inside and outside that stadium. I think everybody got along, which I think was fantastic. Yeah. And if you'd have gone up, I'd have gone, well, we tried, but I hope Coventry stay up, because that's how I felt at that time. So I was just delighted it was us, to be fair. And I had one season up there, which was great fun. And it secured our club's future forever. So, what more could you want from that?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. So you go up, and obviously we're watching. Well, I do take an interest in the Premier League, and I could see it was a struggle. But out of the 3 clubs that went up, it really felt like, Luton were giving it a good old bash, basically, but probably just lacked a little bit extra, which I was surprised you probably didn't spend a little bit more to get a couple of more players in to maybe keep you up. Do you think the club just thought, well, we're not going to spend, we just want to basically watch out for our future? Is that the impression you got?
Well, we've never been big spenders, have we? Let's be fair. We've never had the money to spend at all. We've always been a selling club. You've always had that player come in, he gets really good, and then somebody comes in and buys him at a cut price, and off he goes and becomes a multi-million-pound player. So what we needed to do, given where we come from, so you've got to really put this into perspective. We were thrown out of the league. we had no money. We had an owner that was an idiot, and I can't use any other stronger words, obviously, because it wouldn't come out very nice on this podcast, but he was more than an idiot. The 30 points deduction, it put us into oblivion for 5 years. 5 years we had in non-league, and we've gone through that, and we've got 2020 now who are in control of the club. They brought us from the brink of disaster to success, and you have to trust what they do. Given that, before we got into the Premier League, our top transfer record was about 1.2 million, and it's not a lot of money, right? It's not in the broader context of things. It's not a lot of money. However, when we get to the Premier League, we broke that transfer record 4 times, and we paid like £4-5 million per player. This season, we spent 10 million on a player. It's unheard of. But what the Premier League money has done has secured the club. It's going to make our new stadium is underway. They've started clearing the grounds. So we've got a new stadium. We're financially sound. We're no longer a selling club. We don't have to sell if we don't want to. So apart from going up and not winning enough, it's our own fault for not being good enough. That's the thing. We had an opportunity. We had several opportunities to win games where we didn't win. We just, in the end, wasn't quite good enough to stay up. And which frustrates me this season, because of the 3 that went up, we were the better of the 3. And this season, it's not like that. So, but the Premier League is a right circus, because, up until I went there, obviously you watch it on Match of the Day, or if you watch it on Sky, wherever you watch your Premier League stuff, it was an absolute circus of a place. And, when the cameras come to town, it was just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And, just all the little things and the interest from around the world. I was interviewed by so many different people. I was in L'Equipe in France. I did an article for those. I was on TNT Sports. I was all over the show. It was ridiculous. And everybody was interested because they liked the underdog story. But it was fun. And even when we lost, we go, you don't expect to win. You go up to Manchester City, you don't expect to win. You don't expect to even get a goal at Liverpool, and we did all that. So it was a good ride. I would have loved to, if we was in a different position, if we had the new stadium in place right now and we'd gone up and we'd got all that money, then I'd be disappointed if we didn't invest in the team. But at this moment in time, in this part of our history, I felt we've done the right thing. We didn't overspend. We didn't do, although Nottingham Forest are doing really well this season, but they spent millions and millions of pounds. But we don't have that. We have a consortium of backers who don't have that sort of money. So the £269 million we got for going up, and the parachute payments, and the extra TV plus, money, has been used wisely. And I think that's the most important thing for our club, is that we're going to own a new stadium. It will be debt-free. We're going to have a fantastic 25,000-seater stadium in the middle of town. And we wouldn't have progressed this much this quickly if we hadn't have got promoted. In fact, the original plans were for, I think, 18,000 expandable, but we're going straight in at 25. Maybe we're being a bit optimistic of whether we can fill it or not. But so that's what the Premier League has done for us. So the football was an aside. The football, for every Luton fan, it was an amazing journey. Every game, home and away, fantastic. Only 30 quid to get in. So every game, I just add that one for them. But it was an amazing experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And it's all off the back of somebody missing a penalty at the end of a 90-minute game, or 90-minute plus extra time. And it could have been you.
It's interesting, Dave, because I think us, similar as a fan base, felt the same. We were looking. Yes, we feel like we need to be in the Premier League, but I think as a fan base, we're also looking at the amount of money it would have generated to get us out the mire and secure our future. And even now, that's my concern. That's my only concern when we go up, is that we've got the money and it secures our future. Just one question on the past now, because for a lot of people, we had points deductions, but you had mega points deductions. So when you had was it 30 points deducted in the end? Probably more. How did that feel at the time? Because there was no coming back from that, was there? You were always going to go down into National League.
It's a big one, that one, isn't it? Because the year before we got 10 points, I think. And so we like 40 points over 2 seasons. And the reason the reason the whole thing went into administration for the last time when they imposed that penalty was the FA allowed a complete cretin to take over the club and had all sort of stupid ideas like F1 tracks around it. He had manager idol, if you remember that, when we had you know, it was just stupid. So he wasn't really fit and proper person to do it. So the Supporters Trust, which Gary Sweet, who is now our main man, our chairman, they forced their shares out to make sure that the club would survive. And because of that, they had to put the club into administration. And so it was unfairly treated. And the other thing was that we self-reported ourselves for paying some agents out of the wrong accounts. So that's where all the money came from and all the problems were. So when the 30 points come up, it was just an injustice. You know, I think the same year Rotherham and was it Bournemouth? I don't know. I can't remember if it was Bournemouth or not. But 17 points deductions, and we had 30. So from minute one, you're up against it, and every single fan, I mean, hated the FA with passion. But you know, you go thinking, well, you know, perhaps we can perform a miracle, but it wasn't to be. I mean, we just couldn't do it. It was just far too much to do. And I suppose the only bit about that season really was we went to Wembley in the JPT Trophy final, which we won. And it was great because there was 40,000 Luton supporters there, or quasi Luton supporters. I don't know where the rest of them come from, if I'm honest, but they came. And yeah, I remember Marwini coming out to shake everyone's hand, and you couldn't. They had to turn the music up to stop us hearing our booing because he was terrible. So I think we were lambs to the slaughter, and it's happened before. You've got to think about this really, because if you think about many years ago when Swindon got promoted, they got promoted to the Premier League. They got done, and they got relegated 2 divisions. And I think Tottenham Hotspur might have done the same thing as Swindon, and there was a smack on the wrist. And you know, that's how it happened. So if it was Manchester City, for instance, right now, would they do the same? Would they do the same? I don't know. And I think that's the frustrating thing. And if it was you guys, they would do the same because they know they can get away with it. And I think
the Swindon situation, they got demoted 2 divisions. They complained, they put them back up a division, but they promoted Sunderland into the top flight, which was ridiculous. You know,
sorry to interrupt you, but the other thing that happened with us is that we weren't allowed to appeal. So there was no right to appeal. They just said, this is your punishment. If you don't accept it, we will not give you the golden ticket to play in the leagues. So it's take it or leave it and go out of existence. And that is why there is a flag in our stadium that was used. I don't know if you saw it when you went to Wembley Stadium, because it was in Wembley Way, hanging up the front, formed in whatever year we formed, 1885. Betrayed by the FA 2009, and that still hangs in our stadium right now. And the board and everybody associated with the club know that flag will end up in our museum at some time. And it just reminds people that we've come a long way, and it's no help from the FA ever. And you'll never get it as a smaller club. And I know it sounds like, you know, me having a moan, but if you're a smaller club, you can't defend it because you haven't got the money, and you know that they will impose whatever they want to impose. And I think that's the saddest thing.
I think you're right. Well, on a more cheery note, your start to the season.
Right.
So Alan, is this a hangover from last season, or haven't you just got going?
It's a difficult one, really, because I don't understand how practically the same team could start so badly. Burnley at home, I never expected that first game to go that way, but, you know, they just overrun us, really. And then you think, well, that can't get any worse. And then we go off to Portsmouth. And actually at Portsmouth, we were okay until our goalkeeper got sent off for the, I need to describe it, a martial arts style tackle. But at Portsmouth, we played well. So we thought it was going to get better, and it just hasn't. Our home form has been poor, and our away form, when you've gone away and you've dominated games and you've been on top of games and you don't win, that's disappointing. Our attackers are not scoring. And then we chuck a couple of, Plymouth. I mean, no disrespect to Wayne Rooney's Plymouth, but I expected to go and give them a better game, you know. and we didn't. We just threw it away. We've been making lots of mistakes. Now, I don't want to harp on about injuries, but I'm going to harp on about injuries. We've had a lot, and we've had a lot of first teamers not fit. And the last two games, even though we lost against Sunderland, Watford and Sunderland, we've played really, really well. And it's back to Luton Town as I remember them and want them to be. So those last two games, I thought was very unlucky not to get anything out of last night's game at Sunderland. And Watford, we just demolished them, which was great for me, obviously, because, you know, we all hate them, don't we? And they didn't get a sniff. And last night, really, even though that Sunderland they are top of the league, they ground out that result. And the reason, you know, they are top of the league is they had a couple of chances and they finished them really, really well. We had several more chances and we didn't finish them. And I think that's been our experience all season. We can create, but we haven't been scoring. And then we kick ourselves in the foot when your defenders make a stupid decision not to kick a ball away or whatever else. And I think it's been unlucky in places, but it's not anywhere near where we were last season, not anywhere near it. But the last two games have been very encouraging. The Watford game, without saying best we've had team, but Watford for me, and it's not because of my rivalry with that team, are the worst team I've seen at Kenilworth Road this season so far. Sunderland, they just knew how to utilise their opportunities, and they took their chances. They rode their luck. They had a couple of decisions go their way, and so I'm optimistic, but very. I don't know why. I just can't put my finger on why we are not as good as we were. But I think there's time for change, and it's early days. I'd be very surprised if we're at the bottom end of the table. I'd be very surprised because I haven't got much more hair to pull out, and I pulled out a lot of it recently.
I watched at least 3 or 4 matches this season. Somehow Sunderland be playing because we're playing teams we're about to play. And I watched your game last night, and you're right. I mean, all I saw was a Sunderland team who were just throwing bodies in the way. Basically, it was a scruffy performance by them, I thought. And you guys, I mean, especially towards the end, were throwing everything at them, but they were throwing bodies on the line. They even had a couple of breakaways at the end, didn't they, where they could have scored another goal. So it's not. I can see that you're putting in everything you can into these matches, but obviously just not getting the breakthroughs. So, I mean, with the start of this season. Is the manager under pressure, Rob Edwards?
Well, some fans would say that, but the board have 100% backed him. In the programme notes the other night, they were saying that they're behind him every minute of the day with the way he's trying to redevelop the club and move forward. There is no way they're going to sack him. I think our chairman may have said something along the lines of the same as we are not Watford, and we're not going to do that. He's a good guy. He knows what he does. He's a good guy. And that's the first thing. He fits the club very well. He looks a bit down, actually, when you watch him on the side of the pitch. He looks a bit down. But you know what? Sometimes you have a bad start. I think what we've got to be realistic about, and I've said this when we got relegated, we're not one of those clubs that might just jump back up because, are we that great? But I would say we will go up again at some point, but maybe we've got to accept this season is just a learning curve to get ourselves back in the right place and make our squad stronger. It's the strongest our squad has been forever. The amount of money the players have been paid and cost. It's the most I've ever seen as a Luton fan. It's crazy. So they can't turn crap overnight, can they? But I just think Rob Edwards and his back staff are all highly thought of by the board. The board are not going to do anything stupid. Fans can say what they like. We all can have an opinion. That's why we do these sort of things we're doing now. But we're not always right, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes either, do we? So at the end of the day, I'll be sad if he gets sacked. I'd prefer him to be very successful and someone come in for him. That's what I would prefer. But I wouldn't want him sacked, to be honest. And again, I would then ask, who the hell comes in and takes over the job? And we don't want to be like the Watfords of this world who dismiss the manager after 10 games and then get another one in and dismiss him 3 months later and then get another one in. I think they've had more managers than Everton have had in their lifetime. You know, it's crazy. In 10 years, Watford have had more managers, I think, than Everton have had since they began. Which, please check that out and tell me I'm right. But it's something like that.
You're probably right. It's interesting what you're describing there, Dave. It mirrors our club at the minute with our manager. I think it does, because we're having doubts at the minute. Well, some people are, and we don't know who to blame is the problem. We don't know if it's the manager behind the scenes, the new owner. Has he got it all wrong with recruitment? Our new recruitment person. It's, well, as fans, you don't really know anything, do you? Really? Excuse me.
That's half the problem, though, isn't it? If you don't know, then you assume that you do know, because then you read it on social media and you read it on all the tweets, and people like us say things, and everybody takes it for certain, and then just that rumor mill goes. Someone put out a rumor a couple of weeks ago, just before the international break, that Rob Edwards had quit. He'd signed up, he'd quit, and it was all lies, and you know. It was crazy. Was it you? You get? I wouldn't be surprised.
I sent a message to a mate of mine who's a Luton fan. I went, "Oh, Edwards has walked," and straight away I got a barrage from him. I thought, "All right, are you joking?"
No. Why would he walk? Why would he walk? If you're a manager, wait to be sacked and then take the severance clause. What's in your contract? That's what I would say. But at this day and age, I think if you can reward loyalty, and if you show loyalty to your manager, then I suspect your manager will show loyalty to you, and the team will show loyalty to the manager, because you chop and change all of the time. How do you get forward anymore? So I'm hoping that Rob Edwards is here for many more seasons, and that he takes us forward to the Premier League again.
So you're coming up to the CBS now. I remember when I was a youngster, it was the easiest 3 points ever when Luton used to turn up to Highfield Road, apart from 87 when you beat us in our when we won the FA Cup, and Les Seeley was doing cartwheels down the pitch at Highfield Road after he was getting pelters all game. And it used to be, and I mean, Paul will remember way back, it used to be a fairly easy win. The last few years, it's been a bit different, hasn't it, since we were both in League Two. And I think I put out I think it was on Facebook, something like, "Oh, they've not won here in, I don't know, 40 years or something," and bang, you go and win on a very wet night. I think it was 2-1 at the CBS. Yeah. I was absolutely drenched getting to the ground and drenched getting back to the car. I wasn't happy. You got the bit of the hoodoo on us at the minute. So what do you reckon Saturday?
Well, I'm hoping it continues, obviously, because we are in desperate need of extra points, as are you guys. Look, before I start this rant, it's not a rant really. I've never disliked Coventry City, never. I've always, I've always looked at them and I'm, because I think we're similar. That's what I think, we're similar, and so I'm hoping on Saturday that we just take the game to you guys a little bit more than we have, and if we play like we have the last two, then we've got a chance. But away from home, teams set themselves up a little bit differently, don't they? So if we play the press, if we played our high press, we try and close you down quick, I think we might be in with a chance. But, the way we've been playing, we might come and get tanked, That's
it worries that you said play the high.
No, you won't. No, you won't.
You're not going to get tanked.
No, as soon as you said play the high press, it's a worry, because we cannot get out. We've got a terrible. We've lost the last 8. The last 16 home matches, we lost 8 of them. We've got a really bad home record at the minute. So I'm hoping you're a bit sort of. I hope you don't come out and press, basically, because that'll do us a favour.
I don't think there's any way we're not going to do that. I think
we're in trouble then.
The way that we've been playing at the beginning of the season against Burnley, not Brentford, goodness, wherever I've been, and then Portsmouth away, it was going really well. And then we changed this. It seems to change, and then and I got to refer back to Watford, not just because we beat them 3-0, which was fantastic, by the way, if I mentioned it, but it was more the way that it happened, because we've been waiting all season for that. When they're passing out from the back, you don't let them pass out from the back anymore, do you? You shut them down, don't you? Well, the amount of time we won possession in their first third of the pitch was brilliant. The way that Colton Morris is back and he's way on form and he's playing so well and he's such a strong attacker. He moves quickly. Elijah scored against Sunderland, and it's about time he scored because he's missed loads. we said our Luton is back, Luton are back, and that's how it felt last night, and I expect that they will try and do the same when we come to your place on Saturday. But again, like I say, there are no guarantees, are there? And that's the thing. And when there are no guarantees, you don't know what day your team is going to turn up and be brilliant, and it could be your turn this weekend. You just don't know.
That's true. Well,
I'm hoping it's not.
Before I let the other guys ask anything they want to ask you, we normally have a spot the ball, and I'll just get it up on the screen. There we are. And now it's Ellis Sims trying to go for a header, which is, for us Cov fans, we reckon it's nowhere near his head. So where do you think the ball is, Dave?
Okay, let's go with let's go with number 2. Actually, it's missed it by miles.
Well, we'll let you know if you've won. You win one of our mugs. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
It would be fantastic. Yeah. I'll keep it and treasure it if I win.
So, and you guys want to ask Dave a question?
I'd like to say, firstly, Dave, I'd like to have seen the different the playoff if Hamer hadn't rolled his ankle. But it's not that I'm bitter or anything, because I think we were going to win. There was only one team that's going to win that game. But don't worry about winning the toss against us on a penalty shootout, because I don't think we've ever won the right end or taken the first penalty. So
it's incredible how unlucky we are.
Yeah, and I think just back up what Claudio says. Yes, it was always easy 3 points at our place, but it was never easy at your place. I think it was the other way around. I think we were lambs to the slaughter at Kenilworth Road. Do you think, Dave, that losing Kenilworth Road, you'll lose something? Because we felt moving away from Highfield Road, that intensity where the crowd is so close to the pitch, there's something very sort of, you've got something special there. And I know there's nothing like going through a terraced house to get through to the stand, but you know what I mean?
Well, first off, we weren't the only club that has a turnstile that goes through houses. I mean, I remember going through Filbert Street a few times and stuff like that. Back gardens is another thing. And do you know what? That, for me, was never an issue because it was the home end for many, many years. Yeah, I agree with you. It's going to be a sad day when we leave. I genuinely, when I think back to Coventry's change of venue, I was surprised they just didn't redevelop where they were. And I think that would have been a better thing for your club at that time. And maybe you could have moved on differently. But with ours, it's an antique, isn't it? And you go in, and even though there've been some improvements, so when you do come to Kenilworth Road this season, you'll see the different stand that they had to put up for the Premier League. You'll see, say, standing behind the goal, which is fantastic. But the atmosphere there, when it's rocking, it really rocks. And I don't know how we're going to recreate that at our new stadium at Power Court, which is just down the road from where we are now, central, just off the station of the train station. So you literally hop off the train, you'll be in the stadium. But it's in a really good place, right in the centre of town. It's designed to be as close to the pitch as they possibly can be, without, being too. They want to keep some of the Kenilworth Road thing there. But the other thing we have in there is, how do you negotiate getting everybody to sit together who makes the noise and all that sort of stuff? How does that happen? So it's going to be a super sad day when we leave. But I think it's a necessity for the club to go and grow and become a little bit more like Brighton, a little bit more like Brentford, Bournemouth. Although, look at Bournemouth Stadium at the moment is horrendous, really. But to get that sort of stature, really. So I love Kenilworth Road. It's the only stadium I've ever watched Luton at home, and there'll be loads of tears. I guarantee everyone has shed a tear when they go. But for the good of the club, I think it needs to move on. However, can we create the same atmosphere? I don't know. I literally don't know.
It's very special.
I'd like to think, they can, but, it's going to be a difficult one, isn't it?
It's taken us 20 years to create any kind of atmosphere at the CBS.
Yeah.
It's took a long time because there's been a lot of self-doubt around our club, a lot of infighting with fans, owners, whatever. And it's a different kind of situation. At least you're all unified in this move, probably. Whereas we definitely weren't at the time. And with our move, we weren't even we weren't even paying for it. It was a right old cock up, basically, and it should never have gone ahead. It should have stopped when they realised we didn't have the money to build the stadium. But we carried on. We know the rest is history. So let's move on, shall we? Well, there's one question here, and it's from Finn. He says, "How's Tom Lockyer getting on now? Hope he is fully recovered." So this man is a top professional, and this is bad of me, but when he got injured in the playoff final, I actually thought, fantastic. Obviously, I didn't realise what's happened, but I thought that's one player we need, because he'd already practically scored, hadn't he, before he went off from a corner. Yeah. So I thought it was a fantastic for us that he was injured, because I thought he needs to be off the pitch, but he's some fella, isn't he?
Well, obviously on the day at Wembley when he collapsed, he's off the ball. So you're following the ball and then suddenly you see him fall over and then he stretched it off, and it didn't look good, but at least he was conscious. And obviously he watched the rest of the final from his hospital bed. But the second time it happened at Bournemouth, that was horrendous, because he actually did die. And he was brought back by the medical teams of football clubs, both of them, and the emergency services. And we just thought, well, football, what's it about? It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. And he's spoken many times about his recovery. He's doing really well. He has the same sort of thing that Christian Eriksen's got fitted. He has one of those. He's back training at the club with a doctor and the training team. And he was at the game the other night against Watford, the other day against Watford. He was there and he was celebrating like he was playing. He really is doing well. He wants to get back in the team and I hope one day it'll be amazing if he puts on a shirt at any point and walks on that pitch to play. Because he is a club captain. He's a stalwart. He's such a nice guy as well. Such a nice guy. And, you just worry. He's got a young family now. And you just think, why would you put yourself through that if you're not safe to do it? But we do miss him. We do miss his tenacity in midfield and stuff. And he's a good guy, I'm delighted that he's healthy. And he won't play unless he obviously gets the clearance to play. But I'd love to see him do that. But, it's great that people ask, and we can say he's doing really well. He's got a young baby and he's doing super well. And he comes to the games and he's on the pitch and he's cheering with all of us in the stand. I had a chat with his dad the other week when I was depressing Sheffield United away. And I had a chat with his dad, and his dad just said, he can't wait to get back. But, at the end of the day, he has to wait for that clearance.
I listened to, he was on I can't remember who it was on a podcast. It's about an hour-long interview, and it is quite emotional. And I mean, even though you don't support Luton Town or the rest of it, it's a really good listen, and it does. Well, it is quite emotional. You talk about a human being doing something he loves, and then collapsing, and it can happen to anybody. What happened to him? It's just, it's totally unexpected. These guys are supposedly super fit, and they're monitored nowadays, aren't they? It's just
all the time. And I think the thing you're referring to might have been an official club video, and if it wasn't, then it would have been the Supporters Trust, because us mere mortals don't get access to the players anymore. So it would probably have been an official video just talking about his recovery and getting back to work and following him around the training ground. He's a real, honestly, if you meet him and have a chat with him, he's just such a nice guy. And you're right, you don't want anything to happen to him. So I hope he makes the right decisions for the right reasons. And I hope one of those is he can put on a Luton shirt and just come out, even if it's one last time, just come out and play. But I think there's a place at our club for him, no matter what happens.
So before we let you go, we're going to predict a score. So how many do you think you'll lose by on Saturday, Dave?
Well, thanks for asking. I don't think we're going to lose by any.
Nor do
I really do need to win, so I'd like to win. I'll take a point, but I don't want to lose, and that's how I'm looking at life at the moment. Every week, apart from last night, I predicted Luton 3-0. But I don't think it's going to be that easy. I know you guys say it could be, but I don't think it will be. And I think it will be a very highly fought competition between us all. First goal makes a difference, doesn't it? And I'm gonna hope that we just nudge it. And I don't care if it's 1-0 in the 90th minute. I don't care. But if I'm being realistic, I think it could be 2-1 either way. I think.
Having watched you guys last night, and you got some big fellas which scare me, especially in midfield. We're a bit lightweight in midfield. We've got some nice touch players, whatever, but we're not. I don't think we're up for a battle at the minute in the middle of our park, and I think we could get overrun on Saturday. I really do, which relies heavily on our defending crosses. Now, the one thing you guys do is like putting the ball into the box because you've got players in there who can hurt teams. That's another worry. So you do everything that I'm frightened of with our football team.
Mm.
So in saying that, we're going to beat you 2-0 on Saturday. So,
Wait, but see, that wouldn't surprise me at all. We could create as many chances. It wouldn't surprise me.
We're going to walk out of that ground going, that's it. We're on the road to the top 6 again. To be honest, someone's pointed out we've let in 46 goals in the last 31 matches or something. So we have to score 2 goals to win a game anyway. So I have to say 2 something. Else it's not going to happen. So I think we'll sneak a win Saturday. I don't know how. I've had a drink, so yeah. Vicky, what do you think?
I think so too. Purely just because it's very Coventry-esque, isn't it? We're thinking it's going to be difficult. Luton have got all the things that we don't want to be playing against. But I just feel like we'll do a typical Coventry thing, turn up and somehow get the win. So yeah, I'm thinking 2-1. I think we'll concede, unfortunately, but yeah, 2-1.
What do you think, Paul?
I'm going 2-1 us. I'm going 2-1 us. That's like a prayer.
I know Dave's going to say the same. I get you. But
Dave, I'm still absolutely terrified of Luton. You haunt my dreams, mate. Honestly, I've got such an aversion to tangerine. I cannot explain to you. I hate the colour so much. But the sea of it in front of me, I can see it so clearly.
It's orange.
Orange then. Orange. I don't eat them anymore either. I can't see it, but I don't want to back against us, so I'll say 2-1 as well. But I'm not. I said I'd be positive, so I'm going to be positive. But I just yeah.
That's the problem with predictions. We can never be positive against ourselves, can we? You have to be sometimes a little bit unrealistic. The amount of times I thought we're going to win and we got stuffed. So even last year, we're going to beat Liverpool this year. No, we're going to beat Manchester United. No. So it is what it is.
You came so
hope, though, isn't it? It's always the hope that kills you.
Yeah, that's
what it says that all the time.
So one last question before I let you go, Dave. So in all likelihood, where do you think you will end up this season? What are you looking at now?
Realistically, top half of the table, I think, is what we've got to look at. And I would be disappointed if we don't show a bit more form and get that far up. If we then maybe head towards the top 6, that would be amazing. But we're already 15 points behind Sunderland. It's not often the team stays at the top all season. I know Ipswich did it last year. Leeds did their annual capitulation, didn't they? And so I'm not expecting Sunderland to stay top of the league forever. But if we don't start scoring points soon, it's just a case of make sure we don't get relegated, get to that mid-table to sort of like top 10 would be nice. So I'm being realistic. Even when we got relegated last season, I said if we bounce back, it'd be a miracle. And I'll stick by that. But and build for next season. That's how I look at it. And I think in a couple of seasons' time, if it's not next season, the season after, we'll be in the new stadium by 2027. And hopefully then we'll be able to go back up there. That's how I look at it. So for us, a successful season is don't get relegated and make sure 100% that we finish top half of the table, because then fans will still be behind the team. So I think top 10 finish we should aim for. And then if we're lucky, you never know, we might be that team that had that run of form that does sneak into the playoffs. And then, as we know, it's a lottery. And hopefully you can win it occasionally. That's how I look
So
at my
what-
season.
So what's the channel, the podcast that you're on?
We're on Luton Town. It's on YouTube, Spotify, and all the places you'd normally get your audio. Just come over. We do record our match reactions on a Monday, and it goes out. Then it's not a live broadcast; it just goes out on a Monday night, Tuesday morning. And yeah, come on, see what we might think of the game. And if you never know, you might be coming on to gloat. You never know, do you?
Well, yeah, I'm going to watch it.
We are.
You'll be saying, I can't believe it. How we got beaten 2-0 by that lot.
But you see, there's the thing, isn't it? Because I've been saying that all blooming season so far, with the exception of Watford and Sunderland, which I think have been our two best games of the season. Even when we've won, we've gone on disappointed because of the way the game has played out. And I just, sometimes it's depressing, isn't it? But, come on.
Did you beat Watford, Dave? You haven't mentioned it much.
Well, do you know what? I'm glad you asked, Paul. I'm glad you asked.
I thought so. Just because you've hardly mentioned it. So just,
and
just
also,
to ask you.
You do realise that the season before last,
I never stopped about when we beat Leicester last season, so don't worry.
Yeah, but season before last, they travelled down because they're not allowed to travel on their own anymore from Watford to Luton. They have to get a coach. So if you lived in Luton, supported Watford, you had to drive to Watford, get on the coach, and come back to Luton.
That's like Swansea and Cardiff, isn't it? Yeah, they do the same.
And they came on Harry Potter buses one year. And genuinely, yeah, exactly. So you know where this is going. And then the club official video at the end, match day unmasked. If you care to go on and look at the end, they played the Harry Potter theme whilst looking at the scoreboard, and I just thought, yeah, that's a bit of shithouse there. Yeah, we did beat Watford. Thanks for asking, Paul.
Yeah, good man.
Well, thanks for coming on, Dave. You've been a tremendous guest, really insightful. Loved having you on, and all the best for the rest of the season, obviously, but not Saturday.
Familiar. That's a familiar thing that everyone says when I come on these ones. Yeah, I wish you well as well, but not Saturday.
I'll let you know if you won the spot the ball as well.
If I win spot the ball, it'll be a miracle, won't it? Because I'll never win anything. Yeah, that'd be a nice addition to put with me other mugs that I've won as well.
Brilliant. Thanks for coming on. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you.
What a tremendous guest.
Great.
Yeah, top bloke.
It's funny, isn't it, when you listen to other fans, like, because obviously we're emotionally attached to our own football club, like that bothers us, and you sometimes feel like it's only us that are going through a bad spell. And lots of things he said could have been a Coventry fan talking about us, couldn't they? Lots of the things he said were just what we're feeling. And then you go on like some of the podcasts and listen to them, or like on social media. And I saw like Sheffield United fans saying their midfield aren't good enough and they're League One at best. And then I saw Middlesbrough complaining that like their strike hadn't scored since the first game of the season. And so all these teams are going through similar sorts of stuff. And it's just interesting, isn't it? How you can start to feel it's very much just us. And it isn't, is it? Other clubs have got their own issues going on.
I scoffed a couple of times when he was talking because I was like, that's exactly how we feel.
Yeah.
He totally described us, didn't he, for the first 5 minutes? And I thought, exactly what we're going through. So we've got some comments. I'll go through these.
Claudio, 1 second. Sorry. The bit where he was talking about, we're going to build a stadium and we'll own it. I was like, all right, Dave. All right. Don't rub it in.
Sorry, just Claudia, I was going to say that's another thing. When I said Doug King hadn't, spent much of his own money, miraculously also his timing was out, so he didn't have to stump up for the stadium either. Or am I just being cynical? We need to have our own stadium. It's not.
Well, we do, don't we? We definitely do.
Yeah.
So I'll read some of these comments out. Assassins Unite, with the analysis available now, every team in the league will bomb Dovin now. He's seemingly not able to come for crosses, is a poor shot stopper, the worst keeper I've seen in a long time. So Assassins Unite is not happy. Trevor Merriman, agree with Dale. No quick football, counter-attacking our best, not passing, tippy-tappy across the back three. Wayne Littlewood, evening all, bad night again on the road, being dominated by the bottom of the league shows how low we have sunk. Lee says do in, as in when I said do in or dove out. Finn reckons, yep, Collins back in, stick with what was winning as near the team when we played Wolves. Chris Baker keeps selecting Dovin. He keeps making mistakes. It could ruin his confidence permanently. I mean, obviously, Wilson has to be fit, so he's out anyway. So he hasn't got a choice at the minute. It's either Collins or Dovan. Pauline Hughes, it's your mother.
It's
Paul.
my mum. Yes.
Evening, everyone. I'm a bit late. Technical hitch. Paul will understand. Not technically minded. It's my age.
Well, I won't hear of it.
Ben Wilson.
She was giving it enough on at Preston, so that she didn't seem to be too old then when she was giving it.
Ben Wilson for captain says subliminal edits. His vocal experience, players respect him. Daniel Jeffcott, I think Wilson until we're more stable. Dovan will be very good, but needs time. We have 3 keepers who are number 2. That's Paul from Wayne Littlewood. Yeah. That's the issue, isn't it? That we haven't got an out and out number 1. Number 1 keepers don't get budged unless it's a cup match normally, and then they come straight back in again. Gavin Collins, goalkeeping coach, is the problem in my opinion. Watch the warm-ups with him Saturday. He thinks he's ruined almost all our keepers. They all lose their confidence after a period of games. Mini Phoenix Gaming, Wilson has a dreadful shot to save ratio. Collins is poor. Let's be fair. Is Dovan's first howler really for me to stick with Dovan? Mr. Start, says Wayne, have you discussed the poor judgment by Sims? We'll do that in a bit. Assassins United says, Claudia, who is selecting goal? Well, it's a horrible. I'd go with the young lad at the minute because that's the only option at the minute, unless Wilson's
the only way it's going to get any better as well. Just got to keep same as the set. Just keep playing them. Just drop them in. You're playing. You're not getting dropped. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Ian Plimlott, as I said earlier in the week, it's all very well signing players with potential, but we need the here and now looking after all. They won't make their potential. On the up, good evening. All great to see you. Paul at Preston. Jimmy Somerville was unlucky. They really do think you look like Jimmy Somerville.
I don't see where it is. I'm what to tell you. I'd rather look like Robert Plant or David Coverdale. As I say, that's my rock and roll. But Jimmy Somerville will do.
It's Marshall Luddite. I thought it was, but I didn't want to say it like that. But a member of any of the bands of English workers who destroyed machinery, especially in cotton and woolen mills, that they believe was threatening their jobs. Yes, how did that end? They were right. 1811 to 1816. It's happening now. It's got AI now to worry about, haven't we? Daboy. I thought we were absolutely awful. QPR a weak side. We were scared of them. Our midfield is shocking. Our centre backs, Binks, Bobby, Kitch and Joel are all low-level championship defenders. Dawn Cook, Eccles had moments of greatness and then other times couldn't hit a barn door. Give him the captain's armband back. He played like he meant it. Wayne's making a reference to pulling out. And apparently my mind's in the gutter, according to Chris Baker. You started, Chris. Lauren, lump it forward. Has been missed, to be honest. Not loving the constant passing at the back. Brings the necessary pressure. I think it's just, you're right, Dan. It's too slow, isn't it? We move it 30 yards forwards and then we go back again. We don't seem to, there's no sort of connection between our midfield and our forward line and our defence. I mean, we mentioned it against QPR. The best period was when we started going longer and trying to turn their defenders. It seemed to work, didn't it? I thought in the second half.
It's the decision making that you see. It's easy for you to see it as a fan because you're either seeing it on TV or you're seeing it from the stands, and you see the ball play through, and you see that they just turn and play it, and they'll say, I've seen Binks do it so many times, and Kitchen and Thomas, as they receive the ball from Dovin, they look, they see the right pass, but then they look again, check over there, and then they go back to that, and it's too late by that point.
Yeah,
you're right. The ball when Bobby Thomas, I think, is the worst one for it, for slowing it down. He should get the ball, and it should go straight to Milan out wide. No hesitation, but he looks, he does that little check, and then he plays it. It's too late then. And they,
Yeah.
the player I think I feel sorry for is Bidders, because they always play it to him where he can't really do a half turn. He has to go back to the defender. It's so slow. It's so slow. So this is from Day Sports Photos. It was interesting that Robbins mentioned how players aren't passing to someone in a better position. He said it would help team spirit if they did. The implication is team spirit is poor.
I thought that was an interesting comment from him there.
That's
why I think it means that Sims knew Bissett was there, and he, like I said earlier, he didn't pass to him the last game, so he's like, I'm not going to pass to you now. And that's something that he needs to iron out, because if that is the case, I think it's pathetic.
I'm not even sure Sims would have found him with a pass, to be honest. I really think that
as well,
because he had to play the ball. In fact, the ball should have gone to Saka, and then Sakamoto plays it to Bissett. It should have been 2 passes, and he'd been straight in on goal, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
It's not rocket science; it's football, isn't it? Really.
But the passing is either under hit or over hit, and the way, as to pick up what you said, Claudio, before, that most of our players have got the touch of a trampoline.
I know.
We couldn't trap a ball to. And later on, I was extremely worried how QPR seemed to get a lot of room on the flanks. They were coming more and more down the side. Where that seemed to be, hitting us on the counter. I was relieved when the final whistle went. Actually, sometimes I think, come on, give us another couple of minutes, we might get something. But I just thought, please blow the whistle. Just take this point. That keeper went down again, didn't it? The keeper went. We've got a lot of momentum, and then it's the dark arts that's what I say we got done. The keeper went down. It all quietened it down again, and then they looked as if they were going to. I thought as you said, I was pleased when the whistle went.
Daniel, Jeff Clark, best players this season: Eccles, Latty, Binks, Saka, and Binks. Binks twice. Is that good? The rest
Binks
have not been great at all. Yeah. Wayne says saying Eccles is a standout shows how poor we've been playing. Very average player. Finn's right.
It's his effort, it's his passion that stands out. It's not the best technical player, but you can see it, and that's all that's all I care about at the minute. I just want to see that.
At the minute, though, you might be right. It might be the thing that gets us through the next few games. Just
fight, man. Just fight.
Yeah. I think as fans as well, sure, that is always the starting point, isn't it? When I turn up, what I want is to feel like the team is doing 100%. They won't want us to fight, yeah. No. What I want is the team to fight. I want to feel like they've given 100%. I know realistically we're not going to win every game of every season, unfortunately. As much as we would love to, it's not the real world, is it? So what I want to happen is that I turn up and the team have given the effort that they want to try and win too. And then I can accept that sometimes it doesn't go the right way. And so that's what Eccles brings for me. And like I said, after Bodie as well, those players who you feel like have gone out and tried to give 100%, no matter how well they've played, how well the rest of the team have turned up. That's what you want as fans. And then the fancy stuff, like the things that other players like Heyman and players like that, and Milan, I think, to a degree, can bring into it, is the next thing. You need the 100%, and then everything else after that's just a bonus, isn't it?
What's going on with him at the minute?
Milan.
Well, can anybody think of a time this season where Milan has actually got round somebody? Because I can't think of one situation.
You can count it on what you can count it on one hand. The amount of times he's done it. If Sakamoto is not there, he doesn't do it at all.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on here saying the same thing. Finn says it about Milan. Colin Branfield saying the same thing. What's happened to him? It looks to me like he's just leggy. But we've got no cover. Our recruitment was so poor in the summer in terms of defensive cover. We've got nothing. Nothing on the left-hand side either. If Jay De Silva gets injured, that's it. We've got nothing on the left-hand side.
I take it we can't recall Burrows. I know he's not the answer, and Milan's a better player, but he's one of the players I don't understand why we sent him out, because now I think Milan could do with being dropped. And
yeah, but Dale, Doug King doesn't believe in loans apart from when it's our players going out.
Yeah.
So we
Doesn't
got.
make any sense.
I'm not happy. You can tell, can't you? Sorry about this, but
Paul, I'm the same as you. I'm just pushing it down. I'm just
you're being positive.
Yeah, everything's great.
Yeah.
Michael Summers, too many forward players not to scratch this season for some reason are attacking. There's no pattern at all and no edge to it either. We can't hold it up front, which is another key, because if the forward players hold it, it allows the midfield to get up there and it just bounces straight back. There's such a gap between the two. I shouldn't worry on Saturday. I reckon we'll struggle to get it out. Never mind hold it up. Daniel Jeffcott, for me, the best player so far. Eccles, Binks, Lafferty and Saka. Rudoni is a mixed bag, and Milan has disappeared. The rest are way below par. It's a mixed bag, isn't it, really?
I do rate Rudoni. I think...
I
do.
A bit more time, and I think he'd be solid. We just don't have time at the minute.
Assassins Unite. Kevin MacDonald, yep, he had a leg he couldn't straighten after an injury.
I realised who it was, though. The bloke I always talk about was Richie Partridge. Do you remember him? Richie Partridge.
Richie Partridge.
Good grief. That's a blast from the past.
That's all.
Richie Partridge.
Partridge family. There you go.
And yeah, the right funny run.
Daniel Jeffcott. Paul, you've nailed it on the head. Not spent much, and Dennis going was the start of the downfall. Chris Baker.
Absolutely.
People keep asking who should take over from Robbins. I'd have Dennis Lawrence. Blimey. Chris also says, wonder if there's a chapter in that PD book about how she's crap at her job. She just, dear. Assassin's Unite, who's a better chairman than King in City's history? Oh, well. Who do you reckon, Paul? Our best chairman ever?
Oh, it certainly wasn't Jimmy Hill after when selling our fantastic team.
It was Derek Robbins, wasn't it?
Derek Robbins, I suppose. Yeah, it's got to be.
Well, he took on a manager with no experience whatsoever and basically gave him carte blanche to do what he wanted. And he backed him up in every sense whatsoever. And he got us into the top league.
Yeah.
And in the end, Jimmy Hill only left because, well, the story is he wanted a 10-year contract, which never happened in those days. And that's why. But I think he probably had a TV deal already anyway. So I think Jimmy was calling his bluff. But yeah, I wouldn't. It's early days to say how good Doug King is as a chairman, good or bad, because it's been 18 months, and I don't care what anybody says. He inherited a very half decent squad that got us to the playoff final. He didn't add to it whatsoever. In fact, what he's done is he's got rid of 3 of our best players.
Yes.
Then you stick Casey Palmer on top of that as well, which we could have done with now, whether you like him or not, is another midfielder. And I know we've added players, but we got rid of some big players. When he came in that January, he wasn't looking to move people on at the time. That's what he said.
How I feel the people in all good faith that have got that Premier package, quite frankly, I feel they've been conned. I really do. I think it's shocking because he asked the supporters to back the club and back him, and I don't think he's backed them. I really don't.
Where is he?
Well, exactly. He's just disappeared, hasn't
he? He wants to be front and center when things are going well.
Yeah.
And he makes all these decisions and then disappears. And then Robbins is just left with this little brush and dustpan trying to sweep it all up.
Yeah. Well, as I said, if you look at sorry, if just saying about the shop again, if you look at a business, you can see different areas of the business, and it gives you clues for how they're run. And the shop, apart from being where it is, you go round there, there's nothing in it. If unless you're, a child or as I say, and you like terrible scarves. It's just there's no imagination. They haven't got anything. The staff aren't that bothered.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to have to pull you up there, Paul.
Go on.
Look what I've got. I've got the Sky Blue Advent calendar.
Oh, hush my mouth. What do I know?
My wife bought me because I was feeling miserable because of 2 counts. One, because of what happened at the weekend against Preston, and I went into the ticket office to go and buy a ticket for the QPR game, to be told they'd got none, it'd been sold out. Somebody else I know went to the ticket office an hour later, they were told the same thing. By the time I got home, people were telling me they could still buy them online, yet they're looking at the flipping website
Useless.
at the ticket office. And then people messaged me going, Cloud, you can still get a ticket if you want to go. And I went, well, it's too late now because I was arranging things, traveling, everything, and I had to do it within that hour to sort it out. So I didn't bother going again. Absolutely rubbish. Absolutely rubbish, that is. Yeah. Anyway.
And that, as I say, that tells you about the organisation. There's something
how can you be in the ticket office and tell me there's no tickets, we've sold out completely, to then people tell me they've gone online and bought tickets?
Computer says no.
She actually said there's one left. Someone's online buying it. I went, no.
You're joking.
Chances are, I says, someone's buying the last ticket as I'm stood in the queue. I said, well, can't you just block them or something?
The other thing I would also say about our little run recently, haven't the referees been awful? And it crowned it. That's what I said about my mum's language, bless her, was when we were through at Preston and he pulled us back for our foul and let Preston defence all get when Hadji was through. What kind of refereeing was that?
Amateur.
Yeah.
And I still don't agree with that goal being ruled out. There's nothing wrong with that goal. That's still annoying.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that's another one. He was a shocker, that bloke.
I'll just put the spot the ball up again for anybody who hasn't seen it. Spot the ball. And then you put the answer up then. So if you're not had a go, I'm just trying to make Vicky work. So spot the ball. Nowhere near Ellis Sims' head, obviously. So
Look, Clyde, I mean, you're going to pull out if you keep having a dig at Ellis Sims.
Miles should have put the red dot off the screen or something. That would have been yeah. So Marshall said he watched the bits of the Luton-Sunderland game last night. It was a tough battle, not what I was expecting, not much good football. Luton's keeper looked like a beast. It was a battle. It really was. It was, but it worries me the way they sling the ball into the box.
Yeah.
One thing going back to what Dave said is I was envious that he said the board have come out and completely backed Edwards, completely backed him. And I think if that happened with us, whether you want Robbins in or you want him gone, if Doug King was to come out and say, I'm backing him, he's your manager, I think it might settle things a bit. I think the thing that we're all worried about is if we're going to go into that, take the path that's the unknown, we don't know anything. There's nothing being said about anything.
No,
I also feel that, well, I don't want Robbins to go. I love the bloke. No. But cynical me, I don't think the club can afford to sack him on his contract either.
And he can't walk out either. Because it's all complicated. If he walks, then the club will try and get money back out of him, because obviously you can't just walk out. It's complicated. That's why you have a mutual agreement, because if he walks, the club have to find somebody as well. So they're paying out money they wouldn't have had to pay, which means they've got to go to another club and probably fork out millions to get a manager off them. It's all a bit complicated.
It's not going to happen.
Why should he walk, to be honest? He doesn't get everything right, but nobody does. But why should he walk? Because I don't feel, I don't think he's really been backed. I think it's just been changed behind his back, or not. I won't say behind his back, but behind the scenes. The changes are massive.
I strongly believe
I don't care what anybody says. Boateng, no experience, really. Carr, no experience. We've got so many coaches with zero experience behind him. We've got a performance director, I don't care what they say, zero experience in this type of environment.
Yeah.
It's a
dread to think how much she's getting paid,
Yeah, we've got the guy who's organising things behind the scenes. He's not the CEO. He's not doing Dave Boddy's job. Doug King's doing that. Whatever people think of Dave Boddy did a decent job under really difficult circumstances. Yeah. Really difficult circumstances. So I just, there's obviously I mean, Miles talks about this disconnect. It definitely is disconnecting. You know, it's almost like you got a computer and you're sticking in the USBs in the wrong sockets or something. It's not. It's something's not aligning, and it's playing out on the pitch as far as I'm concerned.
The disconnect goes. It runs all the way through to us.
Yeah,
it's this disconnect between the backroom staff, Robbins, and the players, and then what breaks my heart is we've lost that connection with them that we used to have.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
feel the same, does it?
There's something, and I'm just trying to ignore it, but something is not right. And I know everyone's got their opinions. It's not Mark for me. He doesn't just become a bad manager overnight. What's changed. He's not changed. It's everything around him that's changed.
Dale, you know, you see yesterday. The game on Tuesday. I'm picking up on what Vicky said as well. Hadji Wright, the beginning of the second half, got stuck in. In fact, he got pulled up a couple of times, and he started competing. Now that says to me that he's gone out the first half. He's a professional footballer we paid a lot of money for, and he didn't get stuck in, and he needed to go back in, and somebody either read the right act or whatever. I don't think they throw teacups around anymore. But you know, and then so what does it take for somebody to turn up? You're a professional footballer. You're actually on the pitch, and it takes something else for you to put your foot in.
You earn more than I do in a year. Come on, man. Just play. Yeah. Just put some effort in.
Yeah.
You're home by, even when you're in for training, you're home by like 1-2 every day. You get your lunch, you're done.
Well, it's interesting. I had a message from somebody today, and talking about a Sunderland player, and they were back at 3 a.m. this morning. They're back in training at 12:30 till 4 today. Back in training. No day off. They don't get any days off at all. Even Sundays, they have them in if they have to. We have a total.
You haven't heard the Sunderland manager saying these are young guys. They need to bed in. They've got to get to know each other. What is the average age of their midfield? Is 19.
19, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it may not be a full season, but looking at it now, I'm looking at them thinking I can see them going up just purely the way they're like a train at the minute. They're getting the results, and if you look,
momentum says a lot. Momentum does a lot, doesn't it, in a season? Like, you get that run in, and
they brought the lad in from Preston for a bit of experience. 09 is still there. I mean, I'd hate him as a player against him, but it's the sort of player you need.
You'd buy it. I'd have him in the team.
Oh yeah.
I hate him, but you'd have him for that aggression and that bit of fight.
He does so much of the horrible bits of football in the football team, and somehow doesn't get booked. He gets virtually away with it most games. You think, how's he doing that? We get bookings for little niggly pulls on shirts, pathetic bookings.
Or not taking a throw in.
Yeah, or not taking a throw in. Right, some more comments. We got Day Sports photos. What the Luton fans said that was valid was how they used the Premier year to secure the club's future. Going up and straight back down is not a disaster. The idea that we're not ready to go up is rubbish. I agree with you, Dave. This is what a lot of people, that's all I wanted to go up for, was that security. Marshall, we need to own the lease to our own stadium, Paul. Cov Council and Alan Higgs own the stadium and won't let it go. Alan Higgs was interesting character. Learnt about him recently from my accountant. Yeah, well, we've got no chance of getting off the phrases now, that's for sure. No. Cooper Bros Racing. I'm sick of seeing Eccles in the starting 11. He's League One average player at best. Finn, where's Rodriguez? I know. Well, apparently they're bringing out a thing at Christmas. Instead of where's Wally, where's Rodriguez book? I could use that. The sky blue little bobble hat on.
Yeah,
Finn.
I don't even know what's wrong with it.
Finn, he said to me 2 weeks ago, like 5 weeks ago now. Yeah, it's going on. And of course, with data protection, they're not really allowed to say what's wrong with these players anymore. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Whether that affects their transfers or stuff like that, I don't know. MR, what options do we really have at the back and midfield at the moment, other than starters we've had on Tuesday? All we have on the bench is Kitchen or Torp. The rest are forwards. Exactly. Recruitment. We've been banging on about it all since the summer. Gavin Collins, we need to mix up playing out from the back and hitting the ball over the top. Also, we can't Why can't we switch formation in the game to put teams on the back foot? Oh, well, that's another thing we don't do. Mini Phoenix Gaming, play a 2-2-6 to utilise all our forwards. Mark R, players receiving passes are stationary 9 times out of 10. That's true. Chris Hatfield, all this talk about how we are missing Vivash and Lawrence. Yes, probably are, but the simple fact is that we have a poor team, shocking recruitment. Chris Power, that's not the Chris Power, the player, is it? Question, we are desperate for some quality midfield. Everyone else in the league seems to be fielding their 19-year-olds. Well, I've said it many a time. Our academy is what's coming out of our academy? Nothing. And these coaches have been promoted on the first team bench now, so it's a bit worrying. Mark R, the thing Eccles is best at is covering the majority of the pitch. He was playing right back for large chunks of time when Milan went missing. I actually like him as a right wing back. I think he has, when he's not having to do too much chasing players around and just sticking to a job on the flank, I think he's all right. There.
He didn't track back with the guy for the QPR goal, did he? If you notice, if you see it, as he makes his forward run, Eccles is marking him in midfield and lets him go. So,
all right, Paul.
No, sorry about that.
Trying to give him a bit of leeway there, Paul.
All right, sorry about that, but I'll get my coat.
Absolute two-footed there, Paul.
Well, you know what I mean.
Trying out from around the knees. Question, Chris Power. We are desperate for some midfield skill. Everyone else seems to be fielding their 19-year-old players. Why don't we dip into our under-19s team for seeing young talent to play in the senior team? That's probably one of Mark Robbins' faults. Whether or not they're just not good enough, but he doesn't risk many young players, does he? It doesn't happen very often.
I swear most of them coming out are strikers as well.
Yeah, Gavin Collins, stick Eccles right wing back if MVE needs a break. Played there before, done a good job. Talk can come in the middle. Assassin's United King.
That is an option, actually, isn't it?
That's a good call.
Yeah. Do you also the other thing I want to ask you guys? I don't think Radoni's a 10.
No, he's an 8. I think
without a doubt, right? Surely.
Yeah.
I think he feels a little bit like he wants to go forward, but then he's like, oh, but I also need to do that, and there's no. I miss Palmer.
Yeah. Well, we do, don't we? Assassin's United King had no choice but to sell Harmer and Vic.
Yeah.
Well, you all have a choice, don't you? It's whether or not you want to
pay the money.
Yeah. Well, Vic had another year in his contract. He had a year to go, so you could have taken the risk. You know what I mean? It's one of those, isn't it? He likes to gamble, does Doug, with his £500 Premier Packages thing. So let's have a look then. Mini Phoenix Gaming, Assassin's United Vic, yes, but Hamer's situation could have been avoided. He didn't want to leave, but Doug King wouldn't offer what he wanted. Not once, but twice, that was. Finn, they have stopped cash turnstiles. Too bad decision. That's true.
Isn't that because of the point situation, though, when you have a big hoo-ha when we get to Wembley, if that ever happens again?
Yeah.
And because people will then say, well, we've been to every game this season, but we've got nothing to show for it. I think that's a deliberate thing to make sure people get the points that they deserve.
Well, it can't be too hard if you pay on the gate to keep you. I presume they give you a ticket, don't they?
I don't know. I don't know how it works these days, but yeah.
You must have a ticket. You can't just sit anywhere, can you? So just hold your ticket. You then go to the ticket off and say, "Can you put this on my account?"
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's
but there's a lot of cost, isn't there? To somebody's got to take the money, and then it's now you've just got it unmarked, haven't you? You get your barcode and go in, and then you can cut your staff costs there.
Chris has put. When I went to the turnstile, I think she thought, "Oh, it's Claudio. He's not having a ticket." Neil Park says he didn't back him in the summer. I think you're right. We bought early, but we didn't do a lot after that, did we? For ages.
No.
No.
I think we all got excited, and then nothing happened, did it?
Robbins has said the game's changed, meaning he can't rollick them anymore. That's true. Neil also says, we have no leaders in the team. And Wayne says, data protection. Have you ever heard such a farce? Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Wayne Little, I'd play Collins, Dovan and Wilson together. They may keep a clean sheet.
Wayne's on the right one tonight, isn't he?
Like I said before, there's more chance of a clean sheet in the nursing home than with our defence. Poor just two-footed Claudio there, brilliant. Oh no, I'll get my own back, don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting in my dry house thinking about him paddling out of his kitchen.
Yeah, thank you. Look, I've had to take the Jimmy Somerville for long enough now. Just
So, first of all, shall we, before we talk about, what we reckon we should have as a starting lineup then for Saturday, shall we do the spot the ball, Vicky? And that'll give you time to see if we've got a winner.
Yeah, cool.
I'll try and find it. So here's the me. First of all, I'll show Miles again. He's on his Miles is dressing up apparently for the fancy dress. Halloween karaoke night, 26th of October. It's a bit early, isn't it? When's that? Is that next Wednesday or something? Tuesday, Wednesday, 26th. When's that? Saturday. Is that Saturday? It's Saturday,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, it's Saturday. This
it is,
Saturday.
yeah.
But so straight after the game, hopefully you won't be seeing a horror show at the CBS and then joining with the karaoke. You can sing Monster Mash. Where else could they sing? That will be Halloween specials. Come on, Paul, think of a song.
Thriller. I don't know.
Thriller, perfect. There you go. Also, we have the ladies at the CBS. Is that next Tuesday?
Tuesday.
The Lioness is England versus South Africa. So I'll be washing my hair that night.
Do you know what? They would absolutely batter us, you know.
I think they would. I've lost it.
Rings around them.
Yeah, I'm not. It's not that it's the ladies. I'm just not bothered about England, to be honest. I'm not.
Yeah.
I've lost it really. If it was Cov or England, I'd watch Cov.
Yeah, I'm with you there, mate. I'm with you there.
Also, home parking, big parking, home game parking, off-site parking for the CBS Arena. Go on the website, coventryparking.co.uk. And also, they will do travel as well. So if you fancy travelling, I don't know which one it is. I'm going to press one of these. What's the next away game? Is Middlesbrough, is it? I've lost track now.
Yeah, Middlesbrough.
Mm.
There's coach travel provider as well. And I'm sure with these guys, you do get free parking when you travel with them. I may be corrected, but I know some of the other companies have to find parking before you can go on the coach. So, should we do the winner of the spot the ball?
Cool.
So there we have the balls, and he had a choice.
4 now, isn't it?
He had a choice of 15 to go for, and he missed them all. And the answer is
No.
Is that 7?
number 7.
We have got some winners there. Give me a minute to see how many.
Oh, excellent.
Chat amongst yourselves.
Number 7's a winner. I'll get some more comments up. It's tricky. So Dale, then, what do you think? Well, I get the comments up. Any changes for Saturday?
I was just looking at it. I'd like to see BTA and Beset at the same time. I know Asante can be quite chaotic, and his first touch is a bit rough. But if you just add them two, just constantly making those runs, you've got two there that are gonna press. And I feel like if it's not just one of them pressing, you've got the two that should drag the midfield up as well. But I'd like to see just pace, just put pace on and just go for it. But then can you drop right when he's the only one banging goals in? So I'm not sure. The rest of it is the same for me. Maybe bring in Tort for Eccles. I don't really know how you fit Sakamoto in that, because I don't really think he's a wing back.
Yeah, it's what's puzzling is we signed wingers to play with wingers. We're not playing with wingers anymore. So it's almost like we've changed the system again, haven't we? Somehow to accommodate a different formation. We haven't got enough players to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like we had a game plan for the start of the season. We've sort of just tossed it aside now, and now we're struggling to fill the places. And the only two players we can seem to swap are the two forwards. Because at the minute, everybody just sits where they sit, don't they? What do you think, Vicky? Would you change anything Saturday?
I'd be tempted to just keep it fairly similar to the last two games, purely because I think as much as anything that we need to get some momentum going and just keep on changing, because there's ideas of things we could do, isn't there? Like we could go back to playing like you could bring F1 in and play Sakamoto on the other wing, so you go two wingers. We could do something like that, some sort of 4-4-2 type situation. But then we're playing players again, like we're changing things again, and I think players just need some continuity, don't they? Really, so I'd be inclined just to keep it fairly similar and just try and get a bit of momentum going, really. Personally,
can Tats be? Do you think Tats can play a 10?
Well, that's an option when you think about where
play a 10.
He's sort of player that roams. He can roam, can't he? So you could put him in that. I mean, it's worth. That's an option, isn't it?
If he goes, obviously it hasn't worked for us this season, but if he goes for the 4-3-3, and then the middle midfielder being Tats, you can then play Rodoni as their 8, and then Sheaf next to him, and then whoever you want elsewhere. Something you haven't tried yet, but I think O'Hare was a good number 10. He wasn't particularly strong and physical, but he was effective there. So I think maybe Tats might be able to do a job there.
What about you, Paul? What do you think?
I'd like to see Tats play because I think we're better with him. I think Dale's hit the nail on the head there with Vic. Just where do you squeeze him in? My worry is with bringing Tats in, you kind of I just feel like our midfield is not competing, and it almost, if you strip another player out of there, I just think we're getting outnumbered and overrun, and I think Luton. I'm thinking of playing Luton now. Luton will overrun us if we're not careful. So, saying everything I've said, and thinking about what Vicky said as well, I would go with the same team that started against QPR and try and get some continuity and build a bit of confidence. It's not the ideal team. But as I say, I think we've got ourselves in a right pickle. We've got Mason Clark, who's good on the left, so we put him on the right, and it's like, what's going on? It's just nothing seems to make any sense to me.
He's another one that just needs to be. If we play that formation again, he needs to put Mason Clark there and being like, "You're here for 10 games, mate. You got 10 games there. Yep. I don't care what's happening. You're playing there." And I think that's what he needs to develop. He's never going to get used to the Championship, which he's just doing part plays all the time. Yeah. He's got to play it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Paul. I think you can't just keep changing two players up front. It's almost like kids' football, isn't it? Well, I'll let you two play last week. You can play next week. It wouldn't hurt to start with the same team again. I don't think we've got many options apart from maybe Torp in for Eccles. Yeah. And that's it. And I'll tell you what, if Torp is fit, if Eccles is fit, he'll be starting on Saturday.
Yeah.
Every club manager has a favourite, and for whatever reason, Mark Robbins likes him. You know, I think I saw this on social media. Somebody mentioned Phil Neal and Julian Darby when he had him. Gordon Strachan and Paul Telfer. Yeah. Ron Atkinson took Kevin Richardson around with him, didn't he? Going back a few years, McGovern with Brian Clough. They weren't, for a lot of fans, they weren't nowhere near their favourites, but for the manager, for whatever reason, he used to like playing.
I'll tell you what it is they can't do. It's because they're the players that will do what the manager knows. They go out, they give them 100%, they'll do the dirty work, and they're going to worry about that. That's not what the fans want. Fans want to be excited and get off their seats, and so the players that will take players on and do fancy stuff. That's what fans want. But the manager wants someone that's going to make things work, and that's why those sorts of players will always be a manager's favourite, won't they?
Well, you beat me to it. I think it's because he does what he's told to do. Maybe, and some of the other players, I don't think are doing what they've been told to do, because there's a definite lack of cohesion between whoever goes on that pitch. But I think I'll be surprised if he changes anything on Saturday.
I think also the problem as well, which going back to what we were saying earlier, it reminds me a bit of like watching rugby league with the sliding defence. We are so slow; they just move over with us, and there isn't the clever pass of a Hamer or O'Hare, Casey Palmer could do something a bit unusual at quick pace. It's also pedestrian that the opposition just slide across. As you said, it goes 30 yards over there, then it comes back, then it goes back, and then it's like we're playing in front of them.
Well, the sad thing is with Palmer, he's left us. He's sat on the bench now at Hull. I think the last 3 games. Bizarre, isn't it? It really is. It's
on 40 grand a week. Whatever he's on.
To be honest, I could do that.
I was going to say I could do that.
You do anyway, from what I gather.
Oh, you see?
Oh, that was spicy.
I got my retaliation in early, you see. So.
So Wayne Littlewood says, Claudio, are you slumming it Saturday in block 16? It's block 18, Wayne. Come on. I can't risk my life at 16. Or stuffing your face with prawn sandwiches and champagne. P.S. Is there a spare ticket then? Wink, wink. I'm in the box on Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah, I've snuck in again. Come on, Paul, don't leave us this way. It says Finn.
Oh, very good.
Scary thought we win on Saturday. Chris Power, Purple People Eater. See, this is karaoke horror songs. Starting lineup from Mark R. Just jumped a load of comments then. Why does it do that, honestly? There we go. Right, here we go. Starting lineup Saturday would be the same as Tuesday if Eccles injured, Torp in his place. Day Sports Photos. Someone on Facebook has had us in the National League by 2030. Other headlines were DK League 2 package. Yes. Tavares being granted an under-21 testimonial. And any other 2030 headlines. Yeah. 442 from Mini Phoenix Gaming. EMC on the left. BTA set up top. Mad Frankie, where are they now? Ellis Sims 2030 working in home bargains, Walthamstow. It's harsh. Give Kai Andrews a go. Can't do any worse, says Neil Park. Chris Power, BTA and Bassett would need someone feeding them the ball. This seems to be the issue. Ian Plimlock, Wright could play number 10. Why not try 0-0-11 formation from Matt B and link hands and see if Luton can get past us?
What did Howley ever do wrong before they moved him out? You know, he came in and had a couple of games, and I thought he played really well.
Well, he played him 3 seasons ago. That's what I don't understand.
And then they've just gone off. It's just what are we doing?
Well, I've said this before. Who have we really produced from the academy in the last 10 years of real note, apart from Madison and
Wilson.
Wilson, that's even further, isn't it? Yeah. Wayne Atwood, I think we will limit the changes on Saturday and keep it to just 8. Mark R, we are better going forward with Tats in the side, but we need the numbers in midfield and defence, which doesn't leave a spot for him.
Yeah.
But Chris Baker says starts Sim and Wright together. The trouble is we need some big players on Saturday because corners are going to be a nightmare. If we skip, Chris Baker, are the players trained as one group or in sections because of the sheer volume of coaches? That was funny, wasn't it, the night against QPR? Did you see our coaches all crammed in the dugout?
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. They're all like they're sat on the back of a coach. I thought, oh, dear. Mark Patman, Paul on the panel is so right. Oh, I wonder which bit.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
You'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Our transition from defence to attack is far too slow. Ian Plimlock, at Chris Baker, a question I asked on the forum. And Gavin Collins says no creativity or leadership, and Colin Branfield says play Eccles at right back. So
Claudio, Coda, can I just ask you a quick question? We're just going back to this plan B. I said earlier, we don't make changes before the opposition, and I don't know if we've got a plan B. Do you know if we've got a plan B?
No, I don't think we have, because when we've made substitutions in the past, we do like for like, don't we? We very rarely. He's made a change at half time, hasn't he? Where he's changed, like he did at Preston, he did it somewhere else the season before, where he makes a change at half time, doesn't he, of a formation change? But a lot of the time, when he makes substitutions, it's like for like, nothing, or somebody moves round to where that guy's gone. There's no actual tactical change, is there? And I don't understand
Not
that.
I see.
Because he's played like Norwich and somebody else this season, where he said at the end of the game, "Oh, they came out the second half and they moved things around." I'm thinking, yeah, but so why didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
What's
gave.
weird? Sorry. What's weird is that more than once we've started the game and thrown the opposition, so we've clearly got plan Bs and Cs and Ds like in advance of a game, because we can suddenly turn up and we can suddenly like we did Wolves in with last season, and so we can throw a team that way. But once the game started, we don't seem to be able to do it. Like, it's weird.
Watford this season, we did that. We threw them, and then Mark Robbins says, they realised what we'd done and they pushed their guys further forward or something. I thought, so why didn't we change it then?
Yeah, what did we react to? We don't react to it, do we?
No, we just let them change their formation. We went, oh well, we tried it, it worked. They've changed their tactics. We'll stick with this now.
Oh dear, yeah.
And that's how Norwich beat us as well, wasn't it? Because I thought in the first half it was a fairly 50-50 game. They came out half time, made 2 changes, and won the game like that because we didn't react to it. It was a strange situation.
Right, now
anyway, can I just say about the because before we forget that we've been doing this, spot the ball. There was a winner, and it's Gavin Collins.
Oh, I know Gavin. Yeah, Gavin Collins.
We've got number 7.
So Gavin Collins, you've won a mug. You can have the Sky Blue Fans TV mug, or you can have a mug with my face on it if you want that. I could do that for you. If you prefer it, Gavin, you could be drinking out of... No, stop.
You've gone too far.
Show. It's a family show. Well, Dale, thanks for coming on, mate. You've been a fantastic and a debutee. If only we could have... in fact, that's the best debut I've seen since Robbie Keane back in the 90s.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Vicky,
nice chatting to you guys.
Fantastic as ever. And Paul, thanks for coming on. So... This is a bit like we're going to end the show here. This is where I cock it up completely. Right. Well, I'm going to do the end titles now. We'll be back on Sunday. Hopefully, I think Mars be on, Ken will be on, I think Vicky be on with 3 points and all happy faces. That's all we want. That's all we want is a win. So play up Sky Blues.
Yeah.
Play up Sky Blues. Come on, lads.
Bye, everybody. Yeah.
Sky Blue Fans TV. For the fans, by the fans.